Hi everybody, it's me again. Welcome to my unfiltered diary. Thank you for tuning in. I'm an independent girl, as you know, in my early 20s. On this podcast, I'll share my best advice, all of my opinions that you did not ask for, my personal journey, life experiences, and some very juicy stories. I like to spill the beans. How are you doing today? What have you been up to? Weekly update for you all. I've been driving a ton, up and down the country. On Thursday, I started working for my next door neighbour's company. It's a driving job, so they hire out vehicles, and my job is to drop them off and pick them up, make sure they're clean, have a full tank, all that jazz. It's quite interesting because it's quite involved with the film industry. So sometimes you see them filming sets, or you see a couple actors, people all dressed up. You get to see all the props and some cool sets for companies like Disney. I think they do stuff for like Netflix as well, so that's pretty cool. Very interesting in comparison to a regular driving job. And sometimes you have to drop off a vehicle an hour and a half away to some like huge house with a beautiful view in a very pretty forest, stuff like that. So on Friday, Alex had a show and I had to drive up to Newcastle. On the way there was tons of traffic. So it took me and Alex about 6 hours to get there. Alex had a really good show though, which was nice. We stayed in a nice hotel, had a really nice breakfast in the town. I'm not sure how I feel about Newcastle though. Not as nice as I thought. I've always wanted to go there. I've always said to him, I really want to go to Newcastle. I'm so excited for when you next have a show there. He had a show. Show was great. Place though, I didn't rate it that much. Especially in comparison to like Liverpool. We fell in love with Liverpool. Like we really liked that place. Just Newcastle was not the nicest. But anyway, luckily it only took us about 4 hours to drive home. Alex and I had a pretty chilled weekend. We had a lovely Chinese for dinner. You know what we ordered? We got that Hong Kong style chicken, which is like sweet and sour almost. The chicken's crispy, soft on the insides, has some like cooked up veg with it, like pineapple and peppers and carrots. Oh, it's so good. We get that special fried rice from the Golden Sea, best Chinese ever. I always get bean sprouts because they're like one of my favourite things in a Chinese. Whenever I say that, no one knows what I'm talking about, but they're so good. Obviously beef chow mein. To be fair, we like chicken or beef. We can never decide, so we get one or the other. And obviously sweet and sour chicken balls, because who doesn't get that? With free bag of prawn crackers, of course. Anyway, no one cares what I had in my dinner. But Sunday, I spent the day with my neighbour, Alex, and Charlie. So, I don't know why I always call her my neighbour. Her name's Evie. So us four just had a chilled one. We went for a nice walk around the river. I thought, oh my god, I'm so unfit. I need to start working out again because that was exhausting. But since Monday, I've carried on working for this driving job. It's alright. Job's relatively pretty easy. Sometimes it's quite late finishes though, so I don't love that. But what can you do? Job's a job. So let's move on to the quote of the day because I sound super excited in that first half. I found something really powerful. So when I'm trying to seek out these quote of the days, I relate to so many of them, but I always try and find stuff that's like, I'm like, oh my god, this one. You know, there's always a special one for the pod. So if you're on my Instagram, it's at podcast.j, I always share stuff, like quotes and stuff. Sometimes it's a joke, sometimes it's serious, but sometimes it's quotes because they resonate with us the most because they're the most relatable and they don't have a face, so you can't compare yourself and stuff like that. You can actually just read the words and interpret it how you desire. So the quote of the day today is, everyone rises to the level of your expectation. Now, I have touched on subjects like this so many times. I can't emphasize how important it is. But reading this quote, I just thought, boundaries. That's exactly what it means. That's exactly what you should be having in your life. An expectation is a boundary you have set, and if someone doesn't meet that expectation, they're below the expectation. If people respect your boundaries, they have an expectation, okay? Don't forget to set expectations in your life. If you're unsure what I mean, scroll through back a few episodes. I've got a big chunk of episodes about it. Boundaries are so important for you to actually be happy in life, for you to feel like you're in control of your life, for you to feel like you can't blame everybody else for things if you're not setting boundaries and respecting your own desires, okay? What you want and what you feel like stops you from being disrespected or mugged off and stuff like that. Obviously it's much broader than that, but I've gone into great detail in other episodes. It's really important, if you haven't listened to them, to go back and listen. For example, recently started a new job. You could say a boundary is when someone said to me, how'd you like the job? How'd you feel about it? And I just said, I didn't expect the late finishes, you know? So now it's not like I'm going about making demands. It's just now they are aware that it bothers me and that they are going to do their very best to not go below that expectation because I expected a certain finish, okay? Just because you feel like you're in a position where you can't make demands doesn't mean you can't set boundaries. So don't forget that, because people will meet your expectation. You are just as important as they are. Enough said. So, I've just eaten dinner, so belly's making a lot of noises. In today's episode, I'm going to elaborate on the friendships of girls, just because I didn't really feel like I fully went into detail about what I was talking about in the last episode, and it went on for like almost 2 hours, so I thought it'd be a bit unreasonable to have a 3-hour episode. So, second episode, here we come. In last week's episode, I was giving an insight into my previous friendships and best friends over the years. I didn't really have time to explain them all, so I'm going to talk about a couple of more best friendships I've had with girls, and then actually get to my conclusion. So, I had a best friend once. We were inseparable, almost like sisters. This one I was probably the closest with for the longest amount of time. We got on so well. She was very like me. She was always friends with the lads. And it was only really as we got older we disagreed the most, but we were okay with it. When we were younger, whenever we disagreed, it would make our friendship fall out and stuff like that. And I don't really have a lot to say in comparison to being friends with guys with her friendship, just because our falling out was very personal, and whenever we did fall out, it was always very, very personal. It wasn't based on the fact that we'd clash or anything like that. Yeah. One time we fell out because I had to get a task done at work. I think I might have mentioned this in a completely different episode before. I had to get a task done at work, and she started saying things like the power's going to your head, and just I don't really know how to explain it in a polite way, but it wasn't on. Like, I was just trying to do my job, and regardless of whether I was in a position the same or above her, there is no need for someone else at work to make your life more difficult when you are trying to suit them as a person, because we were friends. So obviously I was trying to bend over backwards for her. But yeah, that's just an example of something we fell out before. And then one time we fell out, we were arguing a lot, and this is when like I had a big drama with my family, my ex-partner and everything. One of the last things I said to her was, you're literally acting like him. Like, I'd broken up with my ex-partner thousands of fucking times and I'd finally quashed it. But this is because it was like toxic, very narcissistic, and like twisting what I was saying and stuff like that. And I felt like she was doing the same at the time. So she blocked me because I said she was acting like him. But yeah, anyway, moving on to the next person. So one of my friends, the girls, we all work together, and we would love to go out, glam out, and just go for a drink, and we'd always talk about life. Like, when you have work friends, you become very personal. Like, you become, like, very close and stuff. Well, with girls, anyway. And, you tell them all sorts of stuff. So me and her connected at work because we would always tell each other random things, but we both had been through very similar things. Like, we'd both always been friends with guys. We've both had a toxic ex-partner. Our families were, like, a certain way and stuff like that. So we connected really well. But then she just sort of went off the face of the earth when she got a boyfriend. Just completely changed her personality. Stopped talking to me. And then she had a little one. And it was the sweetest thing ever. It was such a nice thing because I know she always wanted to have kids. So it was so nice that she was able to do that. And then we reconnected, become close friends again. I made an effort to try and be there for her and stuff like that. Especially, like, young mums nowadays. I mean, I don't know whether it's always like this, but people just completely disappear out of thin air. And it's really sad. Like, obviously, I understand, like, you probably see each other less because you're both focusing on different things. Like, and you do become naturally more distant, but there's no reason why it shouldn't be, like, a two-way side of effort. And, like, for the first year, when her little one was born, I made loads of effort. I tried to see her whenever I could. And then, I don't know, like, she asked me once why I sort of stopped making the effort. And I just said, well, you sort of gave me the impression you didn't want me to, because you'd never make effort with me. And she was like, oh, okay. And just never made effort. And then she called me up like, a couple of times in, like, early hours of the morning, asking me if I had any numbers, if you know what I mean. So I'd sent her the numbers, but yeah, never made effort with me or nothing. So that was a shame. We fell out. Well, not fell out, but we just sort of stopped talking. One of my other friends, we actually became friends in a very strange way, which is unusual for me. So me and all my pals that are lads, we always used to meet up, have a smoke, just chill, do things like go on little adventures, go on drives, go on raves, go to holidays and stuff like that. And one of the lads had a girlfriend, and this was her. And we met when she was actually pregnant, so it was like I'd only met her when she was pregnant. And we just got on straight away. Like, I think as girls, when you have had so many friendships with girls and it doesn't work out and you get on with guys better, you become so wary of other girls because you're just like, I can't be asked for another friendship like that. You know what I mean? Like previous friendships. Sorry, don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I keep burping. And with this friend, we got on so well straight away. Like, we had the same sort of sense of humour. We'd, wind up the boys. And it was like, yes, I got some female empowerment with these lads. Like, it was so nice. She had a little one, and it was so nice. Like, I went and see her at the hospital when she had her. And I get on with her daughter still to this day. And we've always been really nice friends. Like, I love our friendship. And, she's a bit more like me. She doesn't text all the time. She doesn't talk to me all the time. But anytime I go over and visit, she always offers me dinner. She always, like, every now and again, she'll check in on how I am. But we're still quite distant friends because we both have our own lives going on and stuff. But every now and again, we reconnect. It's really nice. I spent, like, the whole of lockdown with her. Well, most of it. And, like, their little family. And, she made me sort of part of their family, and it was really, really nice. So I fucking love her for that. But it's just like a very different friendship dynamic compared to the rest of the girls I've been friends with before. Because whenever I'm friends with girls, I usually have made friends with them myself, or like through other girls, or different environments, but this time it was actually a friendship through the lads, so it was very different, and you have a different sort of approach to being friends with someone you don't know when you're friends with lads, because it's just like a mutual respect thing. Like, if you're the girl who is friends with a group of guys and someone gets a girlfriend out of this group, it is your responsibility to go and make friends with that girl or go and speak to her, and introduce yourself. Like, I'm just a friend of all of them. Not like, if I walked into a group of a group of guys, and I was, with one of them or I wasn't, and some other girl was there I'd never met, I just feel like that's my moral duty to say something and because I'm not really making fucking sense, but I know what I'm talking about. I've had it before where I met a girl who I thought was just like me. Everyone said, yeah, she's just friends with all the lads, right? And girls like her are the fucking reason people don't like me, okay? I've met this kind of girl. So when people, give me that look like, oh, she's one of them, trust me, I know you're thinking that, and I know exactly why. So I met this girl once. I was with some guy, and all his mates, and this girl was there, and he said to me, yeah, she's just friends with all the lads, she's just like that, she's just like you. I'm like, alright, cool. So, I go and try and speak to her, and she seems like proper timid, not really up for a conversation. So I'm like, right, okay, maybe she's just timid. Bit odd. But friends with a group of lads, maybe I'm just a wrong judgment of character. In my opinion, if you're friends with a group of lads, you're not fucking timid. You're fucking built differently. It takes a lot to be friends with just a group of guys. Like, you've got to have thick skin, alright? You do. Because them fuckers will treat you like their sister, and they'll fucking wind you up until you want to fucking knock them out, okay? They fucking will. But anyway, so this girl, it gives me some very strange vibe, like she's shy and all that, and I was like, is she shy though? So, never really bumped into her often, but when I did, she never would come over to me, she would never talk to me, and I thought, I am someone's girl though, so it's like not really my responsibility, but I'm a more confident person, so I would, make a joke when she's there, and not a joke about her, but like a joke when she's there, and it's like, give someone an opportunity to react and stuff like that, or say something, give someone an opportunity to say something else, so that, you can create a bond. But she just was like never interested in creating this bond, right? And then one time, this is when I used to smoke weed, right? And one time, everyone got high, and her and two of the other guys had come and meet the rest of, like, the people I was with. And, she had a bit better vibe, so I thought, oh, okay, maybe she just is a shy person. Like, what am I talking about? And then, well, one time I was in the car park with a group of these lads who'd all met up after the gym. We all had a smoke, and then the guy I was seeing at the time got out my car, well, not my car, the car I was in, got in her car, and they left. Like, they just drove off for a second. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So it was really weird to me, but it seemed pretty normal to everybody else. So I was like, right. Didn't think he knew her that well, but okay. He gave me the impression that she was friends with all the lads, but not quite him. Anyway, me being paranoid because I know what this guy was like anyway, I just sort of tried to let it go, but I just couldn't, because there was something about her. And gut instinct's always right, girls. Sorry to any guys that are listening, but vice versa, works the same way. Gut feeling's always right. If you think she's doing something, or that he's doing something, they probably fucking are. So, didn't take long, figured it out. They were doing the dirty behind my back, and I'm just sat there with all his mates, being fucking babysat while they're doing the dirty. So yeah, those kind of girls, fucking trash. Anyway, I'm going to talk about two more girls that I am friends with. these two guys don't really apply. I mean, in the last episode, I basically talked shit about why I fell out with so many girls throughout my life, but this episode's a bit more nicey. So one of these, I'm not obviously naming names because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm outing them, because, I'm just saying things as they are. So one of my friends, we're still friends now. The only time we ever fell out was never over a guy, which is really interesting because all the friendships that end is always over things like guy friends and people lying and people not being true to themselves and stuff like that. This girl, we literally fell out over something really petty once, and it was the only time we ever really fell out. So yeah, actually that's not true. We fell out twice. I can't remember why though. The first time, what did we fall out over the first time? I actually can't remember what we fell out over the first time, but it was pretty bad because we didn't talk for like good year and a half, 2 years. Interesting. Because we like made up. Oh my god, I can't remember. I actually can't remember, but I know that the second time we fell out, we only fell out for a year and a half. Or just a year or so. And a lot changed in our life, stuff like that. Like, things were going really well, but just naturally, as an empathetic person, I asked her once if she was doing all good because her mum was unwell, and I had a bad dream about it. And even though we weren't talking, just my subconscious mind was like, you need to ask her if everything's okay. But yeah, that's how we rekindled things. And we get on really well. She's a bit like me. She gets on with guys. And it's just a different dynamic when girls are like cool with having guys as friends and it's not like a weird thing, It's I'm really having a trouble explaining today what's wrong with me, what has got into this brain today. But yeah, she's always got on with the guys I've been friends with. They usually want to date her. But yeah, she's really chilled. We get on a lot. Bit like me, she always wants to have better in life. She fucking grafts hard. I don't know many people that graft harder than me, but she's one of them. Same as my next friend I'm going to talk about. I don't know anybody that grafts harder than me apart from these two girls. I don't know any man that grafts harder than women. Facts. Well, not... Okay, that's a bit of a broad statement to make. But in my personal life, I don't know anyone that works harder than these two girls, because I thought I worked fucking hard, but fuck me. Anyway, moving on to my next friend. We have been best friends since we were about 11 years old, on and off, for years. We went ice skating together, we would go shopping together, we went through school together. We become so close that when we'd fall out, it'd be so dramatic and the whole school thought we were going to have a fight. One time, we were meant to, like, everyone's like, yeah, they're going to have a fight and all this. We were screaming at each other's faces, and it wasn't even my fight. Like, I was defending another one of my friends, which I have actually discussed before, did me dirty and lied about all sorts of shit, like having cancer. And we were screaming so much, and this girl would fuck me up. She would batter me, right? I know she would. She knows she would. And I was still there, prepared to fucking swing, right? And I can't fight for shit. But I would try. And I think if I was angry enough, I could. If I can fight off a paranoid schizophrenic, then I've got some sort of hope in me. So, yeah. Anyway, she comes up to me at school. We're fucking screaming at each other's faces. We were so close that we were just waiting for one of us to hit the other. And we just didn't. I got so mad I started crying. So, yeah. That's as close as we got to battering one or another. But yeah, we fucking still lots of love with her now. I used to live with her. She's looked after me. I've looked after her. We've had a lot of drama. We are like what you see on social media, where people are like, girls are crazy, girls do crazy things. We're not crazy, we're just reacting. And that's my argument. Thank you and good night. If someone disrespects me or disrespects her, neither one of us are going to let that happen, so we deal with it. So we may or may not have stalked a few people to see if they were where they were before. We may or may not have followed someone home to check that they weren't lying to us or cheating on us. So it happens. Don't make me look like a bad person when it's perfectly normal when we've both been cheated on before. Anyway, moving on. So just now you have an insight of very different... The reason why it sounds like I'm going super off topic is I wanted to, like, kind of highlight different kind of friendships I've had with girls throughout my life, including mainly the ones in my previous episode. The ones in this episode are a bit more brief. Now, I find having guy friends are better than having girlfriends because there's just much less drama, especially as you get older. You just get tired of the drama, you get tired of the anxiety, you get tired of caring about the things you don't really care about, but you kind of have to care about them and be conscious of them because you hang around with girls. When you have like a casual relationship, when you have a casual friendship with guys, it's not intimate whatsoever. It's just a friendship, literally full of so much love. You can treat them almost like family, like cousins, brothers, whatever. And, you don't have to worry about any hidden agenda. You don't have to worry about them breaking your trust as much. You sit there and spill a load of drama to a guy, he's forgotten it, right? He's forgotten it. If I tell a guy, like, I don't know, stuff about my life, they just go, oh, swear, forgot about it. Or when I'm trying to explain, like, one of my best pals, his name is Nelly, and I don't speak to him often. Now that I've brought him up, I actually feel peak because I haven't made much effort with him for years, but that guy is literally my brother. And whenever I tell him about my life, tell him about things, he actually gets mad. Like when I used to tell him about my ex-partner, he used to get fucking mad. He's like, mate, you're being disrespected. Like, what the fuck's going on? And then it's all forgotten until I next see him, I don't have to worry about him nattering it about, you know what I'm trying to say, chatting about it to other people. You don't have, like, I can't really explain what I mean, but you just don't have that same relationship with when you're friends with guys compared to being friends with girls. Like, with girls, the friendships are more, like, dependent on spending time with them, and it's very emotional because they want to talk about their emotions all the time. And I mean, I know, I'm a girl, I want to talk about my emotions, I want to talk about how I'm feeling, but when you're friends with guys, it's like so much, it's not the same dynamic. Like, with guys, you do more activities, you go out and do things, you go out and experience things. With girls, it's like, let's go and sit down and have a coffee date. But with guys, it's like, do you want to go paintballing? And I know that sounds super stereotypical, but it's so fucking true. Like, it's so true. Because with girls, it's a much more intimate friendship. It's very personal. With guys, it's so chilled. Like, you can talk about anything and everything. Your opinions aren't so extreme when you're talking to a guy. But when you're talking to a girl, it's like, the disagreements are more often. And the understanding is not always the same. You know what I mean? With guys, you don't have to feel like you have to have frequent amount of contact. Whereas with girls, I mean, I still feel like this now sometimes. I feel guilty for not texting the girls enough. I feel guilty for not spending enough time with any of my female friends. But then friends I have that are guys, I don't feel as guilty. I don't feel as bad because they're just like, it's chill, bro. You're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. We'll catch up soon. Like, one of my guy mates now, he's going through a lot of shit, and sometimes when he posts and stuff, I'll be like, how you doing, checking in, you all good? But it's like, with girls, I don't know, I feel like I have to sort of attend to it more. Like, I feel like I need to be there more emotionally for them. I need to go see them, and we just, I think it's as natural human beings, we just require a little bit more intimacy than guys, but like not in like a touchy-feely way, but just like the closeness of it, and like tokens of love. Like, sometimes if a girl's gone through a breakup, people will buy them chocolates and some flowers and be like, girl, get dressed, get up, we're going out, With guys, if they go for a breakup, it's a very different dynamic. They probably don't want to do any of that, They probably don't want anyone buying them stuff and all that. It's really hard one to explain, but I know that people know what I'm talking about. I mean, like, it's an intimacy thing. Girls tend to bond more by things like sharing secrets. We spend so much time face to face talking and like being on the same level of things, whereas with guys, you always bond with guys because you have the same interests. Like, I had thousands of friendships when I smoked weed, right? Because it would just be like, most people would go out and get drunk, and I'm like, do you want to sit and chill and smoke a suit, sort of thing? And it was just like, it was nothing, it was just a chilled chat sort of thing. And you'd talk about things like where you got on holiday and stuff like that, whereas girls, you would always talk about things that have caused you trauma and have caused you pain, and people that have hurt you, and friends you've had before and stuff like that. Like, you don't necessarily have to tell everyone's secrets, but you can talk about things you've been part of and situations on without naming names, if that makes sense. I mean, a lot of girls do. I get told a lot of stuff, but I feel like I just give off that energy where people can trust me and tell me things. And like, even with this podcast, I imagine some of my friends are thinking, oh my god, I fucking hope she doesn't say. But then they know deep down I'm not gonna fucking tell their secrets. I might tell a story on the pod, but I'm not gonna disclose who it was and anything that would make other people think, oh my god, I know who that is. Like, a lot of my friendships are super separate now, so nobody knows what I'm talking about, which is a win-win for me, really, because I don't want to spill the beans on somebody else's business, but I also want to share my story. So it's my life too, whether I'm involved or not. It affects my opinion, my beliefs, and my life. So you're all welcome that I'm here to shed a light on this stuff. I think you'll notice as well, is like, when guys fall out, they're more likely to actually remain friends, whereas when girls fall out, we're less likely to remain friends. I mean, I've bickered with the lads many times. One of the lads I was friends with, we used to bicker about the silliest things. We were literally like brother and sister. He used to, like, fucking, when I had my first place, I don't know how this guy did it. I really don't. But like, he'd be like, oh, can I make some toast? I'm like, oh yeah, I would love that. I have the munchies and all. And this guy would get like jam on the fucking floor, the ceiling, the fucking inside of the fridge, and all over the kitchen side. And I'm like, did you actually put any on the bread? And things like that really get to me. I'll be like, I'll clean it up, and he'd be like, oh nah, I'll do it in a bit. And it's like, no, do it now. We literally bickered over that so many times, things like that. But that's just like the dynamic we had, but we'd never fall out and not talk. Like, that's silly. Whereas with girls, if a girl did that, you'd be like, bitch, what are you doing? Do you not have manners and respect? I don't know. I can't really explain what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to use examples, but if I don't actually think too far deep into things, I try and do this like natural, but sometimes it's harder to talk about situations and stuff when I'm not talking to a person. Like, maybe I need somebody to sit on the end of my bed when I'm doing a podcast, so I actually feel like I'm talking to somebody, because sometimes it's a lot harder when I'm talking to like all of you on the pod, but I can't see any emotions on someone's face, if you get what I mean. What I do want to address though is some pointers that I have collected of how to heal from toxic friendships. So I imagine you get this a lot. You don't know what to do when you feel like you've been like hurt by so many girls, and you're like, how do I become friends with these girls? How do I see things differently? And it's a bit like relationships. Like, it can hurt like a breakup when you fall out with your best friend. And it is a lot of unlearning. It is a lot of rebuilding your norm and your opinions and stuff, because some friendships are very, very toxic. Like, friendship is something we all crave. We crave that sense of belonging. We all want that sort of sense of family, or you all bond over the same things. Things can turn like really sour really quickly when you fall out with these people. Healing from these type of connections can take a lot of time. Friends are really not easy to replace or get over. We know this. That's like, as humans, we know this deep down inside, that it's not easy to get over a friendship or replace a friendship, which I think is why people find it so hard to set boundaries with their friends, because we tend to stay in these toxic friendships because we don't want to lose a person, but we don't feel the same way about them. We don't trust them the same when they break your trust, but you still want to tell them things, but you know they're going to tell other people now, and it's like, maybe this one time they won't, but they still do, and it hurts your feelings. So, first of all, look out for red flags. If they're always trying to boss you around, assert dominance, they may do this like trying to intimidate you or belittle you, embarrass you, or turn people against you, rain on your parade, or just talking down on you. No one likes that. But it's definitely something you should think, God, I don't want to be friends with somebody like that if they're going to make me feel that way. This is something I actually have been guilty of, but being possessive. If a friend of yours is possessive, controlling, tells you can't be friends with this person, you can't be friends with that person, but they're very dependent on you, it's a red flag, okay? That's not okay. Nobody should be in control of you or possess you, no matter who they are, friend, family, boyfriend. You get the picture. It's not normal, and for someone to feel that way, they're very, very insecure, and they definitely depend on you, like a codependency. They depend on your backing up. Have you ever seen them film Mean Girls? Yeah. None of those girls would mean jack shit if they were all individuals. It's only because they're one group of bitches that people listen to them, because it's intimidating. True friends don't disrespect your time, your boundaries, your energy, possessions, your business, your privacy, your space. It should be normal for them to expect you to change. It should be normal for them and for you to expect you and your friends to change what you like and don't like. Like, these things, this is what happens when you stay friends with someone for a long time. The way they are, they change. I mean, for example, one of my friends, she always asks me, do you want to go for a drink? I don't really drink much anymore. So it's like, can we do something else? I don't know. But stuff like that, it just doesn't interest me the same. I like to go out and do things and try new things out. And it's hard to do that when you have no money, granted. But it's like, I would always be the one like, who wants to go down to the pub? Who wants to do this? And you do lose a lot of friendships when you completely change what you do and who you are and stuff like that. If you're trying to heal from toxic friendships, I've got some tips on how you can heal. So first of all, feel the emotions. Have a cry. Write a diary. Feel like shit. Have a face mask. Get in the bath. Soak it up. I think this could apply to guys as well. Like, you guys try and say you're not very emotional, but I know you are, okay? When something upsets you or bothers you, address it. If the boundaries are not respected or met, not obviously like move on, but try and do something that makes you feel better. Like, have a nice soak in the bath. Spend some time watching a program you like. Maybe do something therapeutic. Book a trip to do something. I've heard shooting ranges are really good. I want to go to one of those. But, like, look for new interests, because you will, like, find new friends and stuff like that in different places. It's good to try new places out, try new environments, because sometimes you can feel like your friends are holding you back when they don't respect the fact that you're a workaholic. And sometimes you'll realise that you have friends who aren't hustlers and you're a hustler, and, you know, as much as you love them, but you feel like they're holding you back, there's nothing to say that you can't, not necessarily phase them out, but focus on yourself and surround yourself with people that are in the same movement as you. Not necessarily having to do the same thing, but have the same hustler mindset and have the same aspirations in life. Not always the same goals, but obviously something that makes you feel like you're working towards similar things. You've got that same drive, that same energy. In toxic friendships, you have to, when you're healing, you have to sort of unlearn a lot of things, unlearn habits you have subconsciously picked up from toxic relationships, toxic friendships, or toxic families. You just have to, like, unlearn a false narrative. Like, when people say, oh, you can't do that because people will think this, or you can't do that because people will make you, or say this, or do this. No, they won't. It's all a lie. People say this because they're scared, because they've experienced it. But there's 1,000 reasons as to why they've experienced it, and they could have interpreted their experience completely different to what the other person or other member of party, you know what I'm trying to say, like the opposing side made them feel that way in the past, and that's why they've learnt their lesson in that way. Or sometimes people are built on pure jealousy. So many people say this to me. Friends always want to see you doing well, but they never want to see you doing better than them. And there is very few people in the world that want to see you doing better than them. And I can truly, from the bottom of my heart, say every friend I have in my life now, I want to see doing better than me. But there have been friends in my life who have always told me, oh, don't do this, don't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Same with, like, work environments. I've had work friends that are like, oh no, don't do this, don't leave, and all that, because what about me? And it's like, well, no, I want to do well for myself and I want to be better. And some people don't support it. And try and keep your heart open. Don't let the situation of toxic previous friendships and relationships stop you from being open to meeting new people, meeting new friends. Because if your heart's ready to, but you won't let yourself heal, and you just close off from people, you're never going to meet new people, you're never going to meet new friends. Like, your people are out there, and I've met so many people over the years, whereas when I was in school, it was a very small, narrow group of people in hindsight. I've met so many people. I'm very connected, and there's only a selected few that I would call my friends, because I'm just very similar to these people, and at one stage, majority of them were guys. Now, I do have a hypocritical moment for this podcast. I actually don't talk to so many of the lads anymore for multiple different reasons. Most of them are not actually my choice, in all honesty. So there have been, like, I don't know what to call it, because I wouldn't call it a miscommunication, because I was always the way I was. I've always been very masculine. It's only in the recent years, now that I've spent a lot more time with girls, like in lockdown, I spent the whole thing with my best friend next door, that I've become much more feminine. I was only in the recent years I started wearing things like skirts and dresses, you know? Like, I wasn't a full-on tomboy, but I was when I was younger. So it's like, I just become more feminine as I got older. But anyway, that's not what I'm trying to say. I never felt like, I felt like there was a chance I did, because I felt guilty, but I never actually did do this. Like, trust me, I've overanalyzed it a million times in my head. I know I didn't do that. But I never tried to give off any different intentions or hidden agenda or anything. And there have been only a couple of friends out of my lads friendship group that actually became to have like emotional, intimate feelings about me, and it did end up sort of changing the dynamic of our friendship, because I would feel bad and I would be like, well, but I don't want to let the friendship go because we were such good friends. And maybe, yeah, it was pretty selfish of me to be like that. But like, they would be like, yeah, okay, well, I'll spend a bit of time away from you, but then we can still be friends. But then you just sort of feel like you can't talk about all the things you would usually talk about, and you would sort of... It makes things very complicated, basically. So that's one of the reasons that a couple of us don't speak anymore. And then one of them I actually ended up falling out with because they just started talking about me to the other lads, and it was like, what the fuck's going on? So yeah, it's really complicated, but it actually really, really upset me. I think it upset me more than it did when I was friends with some girls. But yeah, that was really sad. That wasn't so long ago either. It was only within like the last 2 years. Another one of the lads, me and him don't talk because, well, I told the deep story on here way back. He's a fucking weirdo, but didn't know for a long time, so yeah, he's a fucking weirdo. We don't talk. Don't think anyone talks to him either, so if he ever listens, which I know he can't because he blocked me on everything out of guilt. But you're a fucking weirdo, by the way. Just saying. Ugh, gives me shivers. Another one of the guys I was friends with, he was always pretty shit communicator anyway. I like to say that because it makes me feel better saying that than saying he didn't want to talk or text me. But everybody else, including his sisters, used to say to me, you're pretty shit at texting. So, yeah. But a lot of love for that kid. So much. I felt like he understood me in ways that a lot of the other guys didn't. And I never felt like he had any sort of hidden agenda for me or anything like that. Like, it was just purely a strong friendship. And I told him about things that I never told the other guys. Just because I felt like I could. Because he wouldn't have a strong opinion against things. And, like, I would ask him things and be like, do you think that I'm being unreasonable and stuff like that? And he would be pretty honest with me, which is quite unusual because usually when you talk to guys, it kind of goes one ear out the other. So they're just like, yeah, no. So unless you say something pretty dramatic, they're sort of not really listening. But yeah, it was a proper shame. We just grew apart. Every now and again I used to text. He was pretty bad at texting anyway. And I imagine he's just sort of, I don't know. I don't really know, actually. It will upset me, though, because... good guy. Anyway, a couple of the other lads and I don't really talk because they all got girlfriends and they all just sort of, like, moved on in life. But then most of them, I get on with their girlfriends, so that's nice. But, like, at the same time, it's just... as you get older, people's lives change, their priorities change, you don't do the same socialising things. And then some of the other lads, they all just carried on sort of going out, getting on it on the weekends. Nothing wrong with it, it's just not really what I was doing. I couldn't afford to do it and stuff like that. And then one of my other friends actually really upset me because we got a lot closer over the last couple of years. Always thought he was quite a smart person. Always could actually rely on him for like actually decent advice, and actually felt like he listened to me. But yeah, just sort of took it too far and was a bit inappropriate. Like, I wasn't inappropriate, but, like, in the dynamic of our friendship, it just became, he said something to me that was inappropriate, and, you know, I was just like, right, another friendship ruined then, great. But yeah, that was a shame, and then, big drama that ended up being, so we're not friends now. Yeah, what a fucking shame. But always know my best bro. He lives quite far away now, but man, I need to make more time for him. That guy used to eat my dinner before I got home from work. He basically lived in my house. Like, my mum literally loved him more than she loved me. And I'm not even kidding. But our friendship goes back to when we were like 7, 8 years old, so I think that's why it's a bit different to the rest of the lads. And he got on with all the lads too, to be honest. But we just have a lot of fucking love for each other. But that's my terrible explanation as to why guy friends are better than having girlfriends. Whereas I just was very hypocritical in the end, and I was like, do you know what? I actually don't talk to them all anymore. But one of my other mates, we still talk. He's not long had a baby though, so I get on with his girlfriend quite well, and you know, they're just doing their thing now. I don't really see him very often, but yeah, I've just become so busy, and then I haven't made time for my actual friends for months. Just because I've just completely changed my whole life, so I've just sort of proper distanced myself from my friends, which, as an extrovert, it's like internally panicking my system, but I haven't quite figured it all out yet, and I will soon. And nobody told me that when you get a boyfriend, you just sort of want to spend all your time with your boyfriend. Like, it's just like a natural thing. Like, I used to every single day, and I mean every single day, not even kidding, like, not exaggerating whatsoever. Every single day I used to see my friends, like, without fail. This is going back years, but I used to do it all the time, and then as soon as I get a boyfriend, like, it's literally like they say, like, you settle down. I'm not settled down because I'm still fucking unsure with what I want to do in my life, and I'm still lost as fuck, but I'm trying. And if I wasn't so broke, I'd probably be doing what most people are doing and going out and getting pissed to socialise, but I don't really love drinking anymore, and I don't actually have the money either. So it's like, dilemma. Well, you know what I can do for free? Have a cuddle and watch telly with my man. So it's a perfectly reasonable argument, if you ask me. But anyway, yeah, I think where I've spent so much time not spending time with my friends actually gives me anxiety. I don't know. Does it? It does a little bit. But it never used to. Like, I think because I used to spend so much time with all my friends, and then I just sort of didn't so much, it just like knocks you out of routine a bit. I can't really explain what I'm trying to say. Today I am struggling. But yeah, the group of lads that I was friends with, they were so great. We were all like a big family. We were best friends for like 10 years to 15 years plus. We went to school together. We spent years of time together. We went on adventures, raves, holidays, and so on. And some of my best life experiences have been like what I used to get up to with the lads. One time, like, I know it sounds bad, right? And I don't mean it this way, but it's almost like you do some criminal shit when you're with some boys. And it's fucking fun, alright? One time, we went for a walk after work. I think it was like not long after I was in college. After work one day, a couple of the lads were like, oh, what are you doing after work? Do you want to go for a walk? And all that. I'm like, yeah, cool. So we all like rolled up a couple of zoots, went for a walk down the river. One of them jumps into a bush and comes out the bush and goes, "Oi, get in." I'm like, what the fuck? They're like, no, look, I've got a boat. And I'm like, what? And I've heard the story about this boat previously, but I didn't realise that where we were going was to get back in this boat. And it was either I got in the boat or they left me there by myself. So I was like, right, okay. So I got in this boat and we spent a whole evening, hours and hours, on this little boat with half a paddle, like some little paupers, going down this river. And it was just so cool. Like, I can't explain it. It was so much fun. We spent a whole night doing it. And then we had to try and get ourselves home. Oh, what a palaver. And even though I was like, God, this is hard work, I think I was more like worried because I thought I was going to get my phone wet. So we couldn't get home. But that's just, I think, the natural mother instinct inside me. Like, I didn't want to hurt myself or drown. I didn't want them to either. Not like they would drown, but they would probably hurt themselves because I don't really care if they hurt themselves. And yeah, experiences like that were some of the best fucking experiences of my life. It was so much fun. It's so funny when you like sit and laugh about it now. And me and the lads went on holiday a few times. I had literally the greatest adventures with them. It was so much fun. Whereas I don't think I would have had the same experiences when I go on holiday with girls. Like, I've been on a girls' holiday to Magaluf, and it wasn't the same experience in comparison to going on a holiday with a group of lads. You actually go out and have adventures and go to water parks and do fun shit. Whereas with girls, I don't know if this is all girls, but the girls I went on holiday with, they just want to lay down on some bed, sleep and get a tan. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that bores me so much. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't mind chilling for a bit, laying down for an hour or something, but not the first thing in the morning, thank you. Like, when I'm tired at the end of the day, that's when I'll do it. But yeah, that's what I loved so much about being friends with guys. We just got up to so much, did so much fun stuff. Like, we've stayed in caravans, we've fucking gone on holidays. We've all shared, like, me and a couple of the lads went to Ayia Napa not so long ago, and we all shared a room, and it was just so funny. Whereas when I was in Zante, I had my own room, and they all shared a room, just because it was like a family room, and that was so much fun as well. Shall I do an episode about my holiday stories? I think I should. One time I went on holiday with one of the girls. We went to Amsterdam and I had a really nice time. It just wasn't the dynamic and the excitement that I had when I went on holiday with lads. Like, I understand in Amsterdam most people just want to chill and smoke weed, and that's what we did. But I wanted to experience more. And there were so many things that I missed out on. One, because I ran out of money, and two, because I went with somebody who just sort of didn't want to do that sort of stuff. And that's okay, but I definitely want to go there again just so I can do the things that I wanted to do. So my advice for the summary of that couple of episodes was, with girls, to build a strong friendship, it has to be very intimate, it has to be very emotional. You have to relate on a lot of things, or just have an understanding, learn about the person, not necessarily what they're interested in, but that person. And if you're trying to build a friendship with guys, which I highly recommend, every girl should have a guy they're friends with. And if your partner doesn't like that, well, he's way too jealous, and you're going to have to tell him, no. Like, I understand, right? When people say they don't like it when people make new friends in relationships, like new guy friends or new girlfriends for the opposite sex. Like, I kind of get it, but now that I'm not in a toxic relationship, my advice is I don't get it, because you should be able to be friends with whoever, and if you can't bring that person around your partner, then they're not a safe person to be friends with. Like, period. You know, if they're like flirty with you, red flag, don't have that in your life. You're not going to be okay with it. And if you are okay with it and you like that attention, then why are you with your partner? You know what I mean? Vice versa, baby. But yeah, sorry for a bit of a low energy in today's episode. Basically, I haven't had much time to record this, and so I've literally been writing in my notes how to plan out the episode, and I've just gone way off topic, and I don't feel like I've proper summed up this topic very well, but I'm sharing my stories and experiences, hoping that other people learn from them, you know? So, top tip for the day, or summary of that episode, if you know what I mean. If you meet someone who is friends with the opposite sex and they make you feel uncomfortable, address it, speak to him, meet up with him. If you're not willing to do that, then the problem is you, okay? People are human. People are allowed to be friends with other people. And that's like for relationships. And friendships, you should have friends with guys and girls always, because diversity is key to life. How are you supposed to know? Like, I learned tons of stuff about guys that the lads never told me from becoming friends with new lads. So, one time I used to feel really upset. I used to think, why doesn't this guy... Like, this guy would pop up to me and be like, hey. I would reply, and they wouldn't reply for like 2 days. And I used to be like, what the fuck? Like, why? Why is this happening? And I was friends with a group of lads. And they would just be like, oh, I don't know. They're just fucking mugging you off. But that didn't answer my question. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't be like, well, why are they doing it? Like, I don't understand it. I want to know from a guy's perspective why they're doing it. And it wasn't until I become friends with a new guy, that he actually said, well, you're validating it. Like, he's obviously feeling like shit. He wants to know if you're still there. And he's seen the notification. You replied, you're still there. You're available. And I was like, oh my God. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm literally just somebody's validation. Like, I don't actually mean anything to him. Whereas I thought so many things about it. And he really taught me the insight of a guy's mind. And I was just like, wow. Like, what the hell? Man, that was a terrible explanation. Well, sounds like I've got a lot to work on. Sounds like my explaining is absolutely dire this week. I've gone over the hour. I'm fucking terrible at judging this, aren't I? Girl, Jay, you are slacking. Anyway, I'm gonna just give one confession question, and you can ask me anything you need advice on in today's Jay's voicemail. Just because I like to keep in touch with everybody that engages with the show. And to be fair, Instagram hasn't been popping this week. So I had different people ask me the same thing last week and this week. But they're very open questions, if that makes sense. So, as per Instagram, it says, do you need any advice? Have you got any confessions for me? Or any questions? And, I mean, they're not exactly the same, but they were similar. Someone said, I need your advice. How can I make a girl like me? Okay. First of all, you need to get to know somebody, because what if you don't like them? Right? Obviously. You can't, if you don't know them very well, I imagine, by the looks of this profile, let me just go onto their profile. Okay, firstly, you haven't got any pictures of yourself. You haven't got anything about yourself. No one knows who you are, okay? If you're trying to do it through social media, you need to give off a bit of your personality. You need to, sort of show your interests, what you look like and stuff like that if you're trying to get someone to like you online. Then, send them a message. Be like, hi, and have a profile picture of yourself, obviously. Because how is anybody supposed to know who they're talking to? No one wants to talk to someone like a robot. Everyone gets them robot messages in their DMs and they just delete them. No one wants to talk to a robot. Do you ever call a company and it just is an automated service? If you press 0 or say, I want to speak to an advisor, you get to an advisor quicker. And I know most people do that. No one wants to talk to a robot. So, the same goes for if you're trying to date someone. No one wants to talk to a robot. This isn't speed dating robots. So, give a bit of personality to yourself. I know it's hard to get your face out there and I know it's hard to get your personality out there, but one step at a time. Get a profile picture. If you're not sure how to take a good picture, go to your window in the morning, put your phone on the windowsill, take a step back, put a timer on, and take about 20 pictures, and you will find one you like, okay? Smile, not with your eyebrows, because that's a bit much. If you don't want to have a smile picture, I wouldn't advise pouty pictures for boys. But you can tense your jawline if you're trying to show it off. I wouldn't advise this because I think it's a bit cringe, but some people take their shirts off and show their muscles. But I don't know, sometimes my partner tries to flex his muscles and I'm like, oh, gimme. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, you're so full of yourself, so I don't know what it would be like if someone tried to approach me like that on social media. If I was in the dating world, it'd probably cringe me out. But it's a bit different when you actually like someone and you're attracted to them. So that's probably why I gas him up. How else can you get someone to like you? Well, first of all, be honest and not full of shit. So something you say is set expectations for yourself. Say, I'm going to do this and actually do it. Don't say things, do them. Actions speak louder than words always. Don't expect anything to happen overnight because it won't. And just be yourself. Don't try and be someone you're not because it never works out. You can't change who you are deep down. And if you think you can, you will naturally have your old ways always. You can change so much about you, but you're still going to be you at heart. So, and for someone that you want to be romantically involved with, you do have to be completely yourself because if you're not, it's going to bite you in the arse because that person doesn't know you. You know what I mean? Thank you for sending your voice notes to me. Without those, I wouldn't be able to have that part of the show. Sorry I kept it short. To send me your questions, confessions, or anything you'd like advice on, find at podcast.j on Instagram. Send me a voice note or a message to play on the pod. If you want to type it out, you can. It's always going to be anonymous unless you put your name on it. Thank you for listening today. Please send me a message on anything. Stay in touch and let me know what you want to discuss next. I'm not too sure what the next topic will be. It'll be a surprise. And I know I put on my Instagram story that this episode was going to come out late, so I'm really sorry if it does, but I'm trying my very best. It's due in the morning. So if I can get this done tonight, I want a chocolate bar sent to my house as a medal. Thank you very much. Love you all so much. Have a great week. Have a great day. I love you all. Goodbye.